All right. Hello. Welcome. This is Don from thirdcreative.com. And in this video, we're going to take a look at Fresh Paint Multisport. It's the newest design at thirdcreative.com. And as always, I'm going to walk you through the steps, all the layers, the process to customize this new template and get the most out of it. But before we jump into that, real quick, this is a 6-file bundle. You'll get your panoramic, which is a 1:3 ratio, great for those large panoramic prints or banners. You'll get 2 verticals, great for the individuals, prints and banners. One is a 2:3 ratio, that's a good one for banners. You've got a 4:5 ratio, great for pretty much all your prints. Now on the horizontals, you'll get 3. If we don't count the panoramic down here, we'll get 3. We'll get a 2:3 for your team, 4:5 for your team, but also an additional 4:5 ratio, which is a memory mate. That's its own separate file. And at the end of the video, we'll jump into that and explain how to set that up. That's pretty much it. So let's jump right in and not waste any time. Before we do get started, just a heads up, this video, I kind of get down to the basics, so not everybody's going to need all that detail. So if you're more experienced and you just came to this video because you're looking for one thing, you can skip through and just find what you're looking for. Otherwise, I'm going to be breaking it down to the basics, even the most simple things. So let's jump in. Like we always do, we'll start with the background folder here at the bottom. Let's open that up. Really the only thing in here that you need to worry about is obviously this layer, change background color. It's very simple. We'll double click here, open up this color palette, and if you have a code already, you can paste it here at the bottom. Otherwise, you can find the color you're looking for. Let's say we're working with a red team. So we're going to slide all the way up to the red. Obviously you can lighten it up, darken it up, make it more saturated, less saturated. Find what you're looking for, simple as that. And then the next layer right here above it is splatter behind paper. So when it says behind paper, it's referring to this paper layer here. So these background splatters. I went ahead and added a color overlay. So if you just want a quick color change, you just turn this on and it's going to blanket apply the color that you choose. You can double click on it. We'll open this up. Same thing. Go with black, you can go with white, green, whatever you're looking for. And that is a quick way to get in and get out. However, if you do want to take a little more time and finesse this thing, then you can open it up, and each splatter layer has its own color overlay. So as you can see, I have some set to black and I have some set to white. You can do every color in the rainbow if you want. There's enough here, so you're not limited to just one color, 2 colors, or 3, or you can get however many you want, and you can go in here and customize each one. Really simple. Just double click here. Same process. Pick the color for that particular one. You can also move these around. You can resize them, you can rotate them, rescale them. You can tweak it however you like. And that's pretty much it for this background layer. Next, we'll look at these paper layers. We'll open it up and start off right at the top. These 2 first layers are for the pieces of tape. And by default, I've got them pretty dark gray, almost black. And you can control the color with these hue saturation adjustment layers that you see here, or smart filters. If you actually before we double click on that, if you want just a lighter off-white, just turn these off. By default, that's what they look like, a gray. But if you want something other than that and other than this dark color, just go ahead and pull this up. It's completely desaturated, so you want to give it some color. It's pretty dark, so you may play with that, and then just slide this to the color you're looking for. Once you get that particular hue or shade, you can play with the saturation, the lightness, the darkness. Once you get that, you can memorize these numbers and apply them to the next layer, or a little quicker layer, what I do, I'm on a Mac, so I hold down Option, and if you just click this and drag this down, it should apply it. And you can turn this one off. I should have left it green. Let's do that real quick, just so you can actually see what I'm talking about. All right, so we've got green. We'll click and we'll drag that down there and turn that off, and there you go, it matches. So 2 different ways to do that. Let's cancel that out. There we go. And you can also, of course, rescale these if you want them bigger, smaller, thinner, whatever you need to do there. All right, let's move on. We've got our next folder here, which is Splatter on Paper. Now I have a layer mask on here, which is going to keep all of these layers inside, only showing on the paper. So they don't overlap. But you can come in and you can customize each one. So we'll kind of turn them all off except for this very, what do we have here? Okay, actually we have the top one. With this, start with this bottom one. And you can arrange these however you want to, but it's the same concept. We'll double click the color overlay, click here, select your color, and get out. And you can customize these however you want. I've found that I kind of like this light color here, a darker shade or black, and then a vivid color here at the bottom, but whatever works for you. Again, you can turn some of these off, you can move them around, rotate them. You can really fine tune it if you want to. The last layer in this folder is the actual sheet of paper itself. And on this layer there is a stroke outline, which is optional. So it's set to orange, you can see it here. You can turn it off, and obviously you can double click on it and you can change it. So you make it any color you want. Let's cancel out there. Drop shadow, we'll probably leave that alone. Levels you want to leave alone. Hue/saturation. If you don't want white, you can change it. Same concept that we described before. You want to increase your saturation, reduce your lightness a little bit, find the color you're looking for. We'll stick with that green, and then fine tune it. Bring darkness down or up, saturation down or up, until you get it just right. So you can change the color of the paper. I think that is about it in there. Let's keep it moving. Upper text, very simple. I don't have any text effects on here. You can add them if you want to, if you want to drop shadows, inner shadows, strokes, whatever. And obviously you don't have to use the same fonts that I have here, but I've got something that I thought looked good and worked well. So very simple. Select your layer, and if you double click in here, it opens up this color panel up here. And then I always have my character panel, so I just come over here, pick the color that I want. Same thing applies to all of these. And including this class, I have class or position. I don't know, you can use it for whatever you want. You can be jersey number, whatever. You can move that around, change the color, whatever you need to do. Next folder is our subject image, pretty self-explanatory. I've got a gradient mask. So it just kind of fades out right here, and you drop your subjects in, and I place that gradient mask to where these lower text layers will kind of cover that up. So if you're not familiar with gradient mask, hop on YouTube. There's some good videos that explain it, but in this mask you can use just a real quick gradient that is white to black, and you can adjust it however you want. So we're gonna pretend I never did that. That's very simple. Drop shadows on there. I would assume you'd want it, but you can turn it off and you can adjust it if you want. This lower text, let's take a look at that. All right, so team name. There's some important stuff in here because I've set this frame, this box to fit Lady Hawk. But let's say, for example, you are Lady Raiders. layers. Well, now we have a problem. So it's a simple fix. We'll come back to this change background color. Let's come down to this rectangle. This is a smart object, so what we want to do now is use our move/selection tool with the rectangle layer selected. We want to click on a corner, any of them. So now what we want to do is work with these anchor points that are at the top and the bottom, and the left and the right. So the top and the bottom, it's going to control the height. That looks pretty good, but obviously the width is not working. So if you just click and drag, and click and drag, it's pretty close. We'll commit. So now the frame fits, but this this texture, if we zoom in, you can see a little better. This texture doesn't fit, but that's not a big deal. Easy fix. We'll come up to the layer above it, and again with your mover/selection tool, we'll adjust it. So it looks like the anchors start out on the edge, but once you select it, it comes in. Now on this one, we don't want to use the top or the sides because that will distort the texture. We only want to use these corners. So we'll click and drag, and commit. And there you go. So this brings up another good point. By default, everything fits inside this paper, but it doesn't have to. It's subjective. It's whatever your taste or whatever look you're going for. So you can have it run off like this, but let's say you don't want it to. What we can do is select the team name, hold down Shift, and come all the way down to rectangle. So now we have everything selected. We'll click on this top right anchor point, and we'll scale it down. We'll come over here to the left, scale it down, move it up. There we go. Looks pretty good. If you did want to not have as much space on the top and the bottom, you can come back to this rectangle, and again, same thing. We'll just click on the top anchor points, and you can. Oh, I'm sorry. Got to hold down Shift. Let's just start that over. Okay, now hold down Shift, and you can bring them in. And if it's jumping too much, it doesn't let you finesse it, you can always zoom in, and that makes it less sensitive. You can really get it how you want it. But let's just say that we want it right there. All right, there you go. So that's how you set that up. Now you may want to change that background color. So to do that, you want this layer here that says change background color. It's set to this orange by default, but to change that, we'll use this hue/saturation smart filter. We'll just double click it. Same thing we've been going over with. Saturation is pretty high. Just find the color you want and play with your saturation and your lightness and darkness. Fine tune it. Very simple. Back out of there. Next we have year. Very simple. Just like the team name, you can double click and come up here, or in your character panel you can come here. You can change it to any color you want. You can move it around, rescale it. Now these slashes are actually a font and a text layer, so you can double click, and if you change that to where it doesn't say 2020 and it's something bigger, you can actually reduce how many slashes are and just make it fit. Let's undo that. We can also change the color same way here, or double click in the box and come up here. All right, what else we got here? We got a top paint streak, excuse me. And same thing. So let's say you change this to say something else. You can hold down Shift. Well, there's two ways you can do it. You could use the corner anchor points to make it bigger, and then just move it up or down and position it how you want it. Or you can actually just hold down shift on the edge and just stretch it, but you can make it fit how you need it to for whatever text that you put over it. Same thing with changing the color. It's a color overlay, so we'll just click on it, pick your color. And same thing applies to this bottom paint streak, so we won't go over all of that. It's the same exact concept. You can highlight all three of them to move them around, scale it down, scale it up, whatever you need. What else do we have? Nothing. All right. Well, hopefully that was quicker than usual. Let's go ahead and get it back down to scale. So I hope that answers any questions you might have with the customization process. If it doesn't, shoot me a message, let me know. Same concepts apply to the other file, so it doesn't matter if you're working on a vertical or a horizontal or a panoramic, it's all the same. The only thing that isn't exactly the same, let's back out of this, is our memory mate. So we'll get that pulled up. This one is a little different. A lot of it's the same, but we're going to explain that. So to do your memory mate, we need the 4x5. It's actually a 16x20 true dimensions, but if open our 4x5 horizontal. So when you build your team image, and let's just say this is your finished team image, excuse me. So you've saved this as a JPEG, you're done with it, but you need to make memory mates. The process is really simple. You will want to turn off the background layer. You will want to turn off the upper text layer, and you'll want to turn off this top layer, vignette, which I guess I didn't explain in that previous one, but you guys probably get that. It darkens the edges. Turn off all but these three folders. You've got lower text, team images, and you've got paper layers. Now what we want to do is save as, come on, and we're going to choose PNG. There's several ways that you can do this, so you may already know of a better way, but this is the way I did it, and the way that I'm going to share with everybody. Very simple. You can just title it whatever you want, team, paper, whatever. Save it as a PNG. It's up to you if you want to do smallest, medium, large. I'm going to do large because it's quicker. I think it really just determines how much compression there is. So let's go ahead and do that. Takes just a second here. Alright, so that's saving. Once you're done, you can turn everything back on in your PSD file and you can close it out. Alright, so now you've got your memory mate file open. So let's take a look at this memory mate file. We'll look at everything else or anything else we need to, but really we need to look at this folder here. This is team image. So I have by default this in here. Let's just delete it. Alright, so now you need to put your team image in here. Very simple. What I would do is find your file, and where did I even save that? In here. Okay. Find it and drag it and drop it. Commit with the check mark. Now, click the corner. This is now a smart object. And scale it down. And move it up. Now, it's perfectly horizontal, and maybe that's the look you want. I thought it kind of looked cool if you click up here and drag and rotate it. And I liked how I could make it kind of overlap this edge here just a little bit, and then maybe scale it up. Once you get it how you like it, you can commit it, and that's it. You got your team image in there. It makes it a memory mate, and you just use the other 4x5 horizontal team file to create that. But by making it as a PNG, it allows you to have an image with transparency in it. It allows you to drop it in here and do exactly I just showed you. Looks pretty cool. What else with this? Is there anything? We've got our upper text is set up the same. Individual subject, obviously you drop your subject in here. Now you notice there's a gradient mask and it's got this red X through it. So if you want your athlete to go all the way to the bottom, which is the way I thought it looked best, you don't have to do anything. If you want it to appear that this tear goes over your athlete, hold down Shift and just click on that red X, and it will activate this gradient mask, and so it will continue. That's just another option. Whichever way you think it looks best, you can go with it. So we'll go ahead and hold down Shift and click to hide that layer mask. What else? Anything? Lower text is down here. It's got a gradient mask, and this is what allows this shadow to kind of go over your text. So we'll open that up and take a look. First name, very simple. You can change it and change the color here. Same thing with last name. Now you probably will have to play with the size. Word is only 4 letters, so if you have a longer name, you'll have to scale it down and position it however you want. These slashes are also a text layer, so you can rescale and reposition. Let's see. Alright, that is the actual layers that make this shape up themselves. You don't really have to do anything with that, other than possibly change the color. If you want to change the color, it's a gradient overlay adjustment layer here. If you open that up, pick the gradient you want, or double click and create the gradient that you want. But let's just use one that I already have. You get the idea. So, pretty cool. That's it. I think that's it. You've got class or position down here. It can be anything you want. It could be class of 02 or 22, excuse me. It could be a jersey number, just whatever you want to make it. But that is all I got. Everything else is set up just like the other file. So those same concepts will apply. Alright, hopefully that one was a little bit quicker this time. As always, if you still have questions that this video did not answer, shoot me an email, don@thirdcreative.com, or you can shoot me a message at my Facebook page, Third Creative. But I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and that is all I have for today. So as always, thank you for watching. I hope this helps you, and hope it makes your wallets a little fatter. Until next time, see ya.